Blue Jays fans? Welcome to the second episode of the Blue Jays podcast. I still don't have a name for it yet, but I do have a haircut and a foam finger now hanging behind me. So, shit is growing. Business is good. Alright, I still don't have my partner here, Tim Brennan. We're going to be releasing our first combined podcast soon. So today I wanted to highlight the bullpen. Yes, everybody's loving to talk about the bullpen right now. And the Blue Jays have a shitty one. And I thought that was apparent coming into the season. Many of the talking heads of the Blue Jays who work for certain companies, I will not name them, I don't know how they don't see it. Like, they're involved with these players. They're on the field. They're blinded to stuff. Anyway, so I put together a mess of numbers here, and I'm just going to go through the reasons I think this is a shitty bullpen. And I'm not going to suggest how it can improve, because I don't know where we're going to get the bodies to improve it. But I want to counter the narrative that this bullpen just needs time. This bullpen doesn't need time. This bullpen is average at best. So statistically, the Blue Jays bullpen right now, their ERA is 4.03 on the season. That's good enough for, I believe, 20th. Yes, 20th in the majors. Now, I believe in the law of averages. What goes up must come down, and what is down must go up. You know, you see that in many players who start slow. You say, just give it time. That's the law of averages, all right? Miguel Cabrera hitting 190 at the start of the season in the first month, you know it's not going to end up. At some point, he's actually going to hit, whatever, 350 to balance that out and make him a 320 hitter that he is, or whatever. You understand what I'm saying? Likewise, players who get really hot, that have no business being hot, they're going to come back down to earth. So I believe, I'm a firm believer in the law of averages. If you have enough data on a player over the course of, let's say, 3 years, then you can begin to understand how the next seasons will flow, okay? Depending on age, and there's other factors, of course. And if they're rookies, I don't fucking know. And when I do fantasy sports, I just mostly stay away from rookies, because I don't care how much hype they have, you have no idea what they're going to produce. You know, you need a couple, 2-3 years of data to really understand who they're going to be. And this is what I say about Devin Travis. I love what Devin Travis did last year. But we don't know how real that is. We don't know if pitchers are going to adjust to him and he won't make the adjustment back. You know? So anyway, so let's just focus on the Blue Jays bullpen, and I am only going to focus on the current members, okay? I'm not going to go into AAA for the most part, and I'm not going to go into figuring out how to fix it. I just want to counter the narrative that this bullpen just needs time and it will be fine. I don't know why you would say that, because it's not true. All right, so the current Blue Jays bullpen ERA is 4.03. They're 0-7. They lead the majors in losses. We all know that. But, you know, throw the wins and losses out for a minute. Let's just focus on ERA. And again, I know that's not the only indicator of pitching. I personally like WHIP more than I like ERA. Some people like the advanced stats. Whatever. I don't care. This is my podcast, so I'm going to talk about what the fuck I want to talk about. Again, so the Blue Jays bullpen right now is 4.03 ERA. Do you know what their career ERA is of the combined players? That's Drew Storen, Brett Cecil, Jesse Chavez, Gavin Floyd, Joe Behahini, Pat Venditti, Roberto Osuna, and I'm also going to include Aaron Loup in this. All of those players combined, their career ERA is 4.08. Almost dead on. Now, It hasn't been that long into the season, 22 games, not quite a month. So that's still a relatively small sample size. But it's important to note that it's almost bang on when I talk about law of averages. This team is at where it's going to be, a 4.03 ERA. Now, teams have gotten into the playoffs with a 4.03 ERA, and the bullpen is not the only factor, I understand, that determines whether or not you get into the playoffs. But it is an important aspect of your team. So let's look at some of the playoff numbers for the last 2 years. Some of the teams, their bullpen numbers, who made it to the playoffs. So, in 2014, the average bullpen ERA was 3.60. That's AL. Okay? 5 out of 10 of the best bullpens in 2014 made the playoffs. 7 out of 10 were in the top 15. Teams that made the playoffs, 7 of them were in the top 15 in bullpen ERA. 7 of the 10 were also below the league average. And the 2 worst ERA bullpens, Detroit with a 4.29 and the Dodgers with a 3.80, both were bounced in the first round. In 2015, the playoff bullpens, of the 10 teams who made it to the playoffs, 8 out of the 10 had bullpen ERAs below their league average. 7 of the 10, again, were in the top 15 of the league. And 5 of the top 10 bullpens made the playoffs. And, interesting to note, the worst 3 ERAs from 2015 playoff bullpens were, again, all bounced in the first round. So, no, a bullpen does not indicate whether or not, the bullpen does not give you, it is not the most important aspect, but it's an important aspect. So I'm not trying to say, what I'm saying here about bullpen numbers are what you need to do or you're not going to make the playoffs. I'm not saying that shit. So the 4 people that watch this fucking podcast, don't send me an email saying women shouldn't be allowed to vote. Women should be allowed to vote. And they should vote for the fucking Blue Jays getting a new bullpen. Alright? So keep those numbers in mind. So the Blue Jays have a 4.03 ERA. 2014, the league average was 3.60. 2015, the league average was 3.76. Only 2 teams. Texas last year had a 4.12 ERA, and we know how the final game turned out because of their bullpen. Thank you very much, Mr. Sam Dyson. So they had the worst bullpen, ERA over 4. And the Tigers, in 2014, he had a bullpen ERA over 4. So 2 teams in the last 2 years have made the playoffs with a bullpen ERA over 4. The Blue Jays' current bullpen is 4.03. If you add up all their career numbers, their combined ERA is 4.08. The law of averages. This bullpen is not going to get it done. I don't give a shit what any of these guys say. This is not an acceptable bullpen. Things will not even out. We are what we are. You have to be content with what we have. Because it's not getting better. So let's talk about some of the players. I'm happy with Drew. Well, after last night's performance, it puts a little shake on it, but Drew Storen has had a drop in velocity. His career ERA is 3.08. So to be fair to him, I looked at everybody's career ERA, And then I broke it down to the last 2 years, just to see what they've been up to lately. Okay? So Drew Storen's ERA, career ERA is 3.08. The last 2 years, with last night's numbers combined, is 2.51. That's very nice. That's a great arm to have in the bullpen. I'm satisfied with Drew Storen. I think he'll figure this out. He's fine. Brett Cecil, getting bumped around, but he's been bumped around the last couple years. I think Brett Cecil's going to be just fine. His career ERA is 4.23. The last 2 years, his ERA, though, is a pretty wicked 2.6. You know, if we can fill our pen with 3.3 to 3.5 ERA guys, we're a top-notch bullpen. All right? That's not asking for a lot, in my opinion. So I'm happy with Storen, happy with Cecil. Everybody's happy with Roberto Osuna. He's a young stud. And Aaron Loup, you know, Aaron Loup had a shitty season last year, but his whip was actually not bad. I think it was his ERA was close to 4.44, and his whip was somewhere around 1.25. And, you know, typically the lower the whip, the ERA comes down to match it. So that's that ERA is quite high for his whip. His career ERA is 3.11. The last 2 years, it's 3.64. Again, I don't mind him in the bullpen at least as much as the other guys. So let's talk about the other guys. So I'm happy with Osuna. I'm happy with Storen. I'm happy with Cecil. And Aaron Loup, but you know, it's better than what else we can throw out there, in my opinion. Okay, so let's look at Jesse Chavez. Career 4.52 ERA. Last 2 years, 3.83. Pitching in mostly pitcher-friendly parks. He's 33 years old. He's a depth guy. I'm not saying throw away Jesse Chavez. He's a depth guy. He can make the spot start, which I actually think he's more valuable as a spot starter than he is as a bullpen guy. Cheers. But he's lived his career in pitcher's park for the most part. So with 3.83 ERA the last 2 years. 33 in pitcher's park, coming to Toronto. Do you think that ERA is going to stay at 3.83 coming to Toronto from Oakland? Not ass likely. It's probably going to jump up somewhere low fours. 4.2, 4.25. That's not getting it done in the bullpen. You can't... I suppose you can have one or two, but you don't want 4 ERA guys in your bullpen. This is the whole thing. We need to get the number into 3.3 to 3.5, which typically, you know, let me read off the 2015 playoff ERAs, okay? Yankees, 3.7. Houston, 3.27. KC, 2.72. Texas, 4.12. Blue Jays, 3.5. Pittsburgh, 2.67. Chicago, 3.38. The Cardinals, 2.82. Mets, 3.48. Dodgers, 3.91. Now remember, the two highest ERAs, 4.12, 3.91, and the Yankees, 3.70, all got bounced in the first round. So the 3 worst ERAs of that group got bounced. So it is very important, maybe especially so in the playoffs, you know, considering what numbers I've seen here. Now, I've only gone to 2014, so maybe you need to go back further to do more research, right? To get a bigger sample size. So we need that ERA in the mid-5s. We can't have Jesse Chavez's with their 4+ ERAs. Gavin Floyd, career ERA, 4.36, 33-year-old. 2.68 ERA in the last 2 years. But he hasn't pitched a full season since 2012. He's 33 again. You think he's going to keep a 2.68 ERA with Toronto? No, I don't. And remember, his career ERA is 4.36, coming off lots of injuries, and he's 33 years old. Throw the fucking 2.68 ERA out the window, which he did in only 2 years combined, 67 1/3 innings. Right? So that's not like, wow, you know, Gavin Floyd is now new and improved. That is not a large enough sample size. His ERA, I am certain. I would sell my first child to say his ERA will top 4. I won't sell both children because I need to keep one of them for work. Got a lot of work to do around here. Aaron Loup, career 3.11 ERA, 3.64 last 2 seasons. As I said though, his whip was pretty good. I actually expect a little bounce back from last year. The mid-4 ERAs. No reason he shouldn't lower that a little bit. Joe Bihahini. I don't know how to say his fucking name. Go screw yourself. His whip. So he gave up his first run last night. What did he do? 2 innings, 1 run, put 4 men on base. Which is indicative. So he's only given up 1 run in 6 2/3 innings. But his whip is almost 2. So that's not going to keep going. Plus he's a rookie. We don't know what the fuck he's going to bring to the game. So you can't trust him. Pat Venditti, as the pronouncing dictionary told me to say. He's got 31 2/3 career innings. Plus last night. His career ERA is 4.76. He's a nice story, but he's not a reliable pitcher. So I don't care about nice stories. This isn't preschool. I'm not trying to build his self-esteem. We're trying to build a championship. So that's my problems. I'm happy with Storen, for the most part. Now, he has had a drop in velocity, so there maybe is some serious concern there. Brett Cecil will be fine. He's been one of the best relievers the last 2 years, and he started out slow both years. Let's not give up on him and throw him to the trash. Okay? Roberto Osuna will be fine. Aaron Loup, depending on which way you look. So we can... Let's say that we can rely on Drew Storen. So we have Drew Storen, Brett Cecil, and Roberto Osuna. 3 members of the bullpen we can rely on. Jesse Chavez, Gavin Floyd will fill innings. I'm not a hater of Jesse Chavez. I think he's fine. But he's going to have an ERA over 4. So when you look, well, okay, is that fine in the bullpen? When you know ERA is over 4, get bounced in the first round? Now, again, there's other factors, so I understand that. But that's not a helpful piece. If you're bringing in a 4 ERA, that's not a helpful piece. You're filling innings, and probably every bullpen has a guy with a 4 ERA, even the best. But how do we turn that into a 3.5? How do we turn Gavin Floyd into a 3.5? If those guys can deliver 3.5 ERAs, they're good investments. Even 3.75, they're good investments. They're holding the fort. Pitching long relief, the 7th inning. But we don't want to see them in the 8th inning. We don't want to see any of these fucking guys in the 8th inning other than Cecil or Storen. We got a lot of shit in the back end. And it's not going to work. It's not going to work. There is no way. There's no way we survive this season with this bullpen. It's just not going to happen. And again, I'm not going to go into AAA. What do you do with Drew Hutchinson? Blah, blah, blah. You know, we got enough problems with what the fuck are we going to do with R.A. Dickey. Now, R.A. Dickey, I'm not going to beat him up too bad. He's actually been very good for the Blue Jays. Looking at certain statistics, his whip has been solid. His win-loss record as a Blue Jay is 500. Now, I just had the discussion on Twitter last night. People saying, would you shut the fuck up with win-loss record? It doesn't mean anything. It does mean something. It does mean something. It's not the whole indicator, but it's a factor. Roy Halladay has always pitched beyond his team's winning percentage. He's always been better than his team. All-star pitchers, and I'm going to do the statistics on this because I got sufficiently pissed off enough last night at a couple doughheads on Twitter that it made me want to do the stats. to show that all-star pitchers, their winning percentages, and Hall of Famers, their winning percentages likely outpace their teams. So there is something to the fact that people can be winners. People find out how to win. So the best pitchers find out how to win, regardless of what their team is doing. That's my belief. I'm going to do some statistical work into it to prove it. Why did I get on this topic? I'm talking about the bullpen. All right. Anyway, listen, that's all I have to say for now. I can keep beating the shit over your head. I think our bullpen is average at best. All of the numbers indicate it. All the career numbers indicate it. Please stop saying this bullpen is going to figure it out. It is not going to fucking figure it out. It is what it is. We need to find out how to replace. Look, even if we could do this, I don't know how to say his name. We'll call him Joey. And Venditti. If we could replace those two guys, even in the short term with two more Jesse Chavezes, that would be at least a step up. But we need to get even better than that. We need to replace those two arms with better arms. Whether we got to move a piece in the minors or whatever. But again, I didn't want to get into that. I just wanted to talk about the bullpen as it is right now. To me, I think I made my point, but I do a lot of rambling and I'm not that well prepared, so I don't know if I sold my narrative or not. But anyway, thank you for joining me on episode 2. Follow me and my man Tim Brennan on Twitter. Those things will be scrolling here in a minute. Tomorrow night, me and Tim will be getting together to do live Periscope commentary in between innings of the Blue Jays game, so you can join us for that. You'll see my mug, and you'll hear Tim's voice. Anyway, thank you for joining. Talk to you on episode 3.